Hello, my friend. Welcome. I hope you're having an outstanding day. This is Heather. This is another episode of the Back to Me podcast, and this is another amazing human being coming to talk to us. There are just so many awesome people that I feel like I could broadcast every day and still not get bored of talking to all these awesome people. And today I am talking with Gael Wood from elevatewithgail.com. Hi, Gail.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for taking some time out of your schedule to come and talk with us. And I always let people know that everything that whoever comes has something that I think is interesting and I always want to learn more about. So I'm hoping that will just help them because, the more we can help people find something that will help them in the world, then the whole world just ripples outwards, right?
Yes.
And so elevategail.com, but I read your bio and you've done a lot of stuff. So
I do like to create.
right. And so how did you go from, because you had a spa, right?
Mhm.
And you were a therapist.
Yeah.
And then but the journeys are always so interesting. How did you get on that journey to where you are now? And then in that, maybe you can tell us what you're doing now.
Yeah, so I had my spa, and then when I had my son, I kind of thought, do I want to have my own business and a newborn?
Oh, yeah.
And the answer I came up with was no. Which now I have mixed feelings about that decision, but that's the decision I made, and I sold my spa. So when he was about 9 months old, I realized being a stay-at-home mom is not my cup of tea.
Right.
And I'm a much better mom when I go and do other things. So I got a job at a resort and I really liked my job. It was a good fit. It was near my house and there were a lot of great things about it. But being an entrepreneur, I was like, I want to have my own thing. I just like to have my own projects going on. It really lights me up. So I started seeing people online. This was around 2013, selling things like PDF planners and eBooks. And I just said, I wonder if I could do that. And that's how it all began. I just bought a domain name and started a little blog. And it got a little out of control.
Oh, no.
in good and bad ways.
Right.
So that has led me to have, I had LMT resources. Then I had changed it to gailwood.com because I've always been multi-passionate. And I was like, well, I don't want it to be just for massage therapists. What if I want to do something else? And then I came back around and said, I will call it Massage and Spa Success in case I want to sell it.
Right.
And then somewhere along the way, I said, I went back around to branding again under my name. So just, the journey.
Right. I know. It's interesting. If you follow the breadcrumbs of I'm interested in this, I'm interested in this, and this is for everybody. If you follow those, this is curious, then you don't know where it's going to lead. And you don't have to know where it's going to lead, right? It doesn't have to lead anywhere in particular. And just for everybody listening, so an LMT is licensed massage therapist.
Yes.
That's a US, that's the US designation, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So in Canada, it's an RMT.
Yeah.
Registered, and then and not everybody in Canada falls under that, so it could just be massage therapists in some of those provinces. Yeah. But I know it's like you get so used to throwing around RMT, this. It's like somebody might be going, "What was that?" So you were practicing as a therapist, and you were running the clinic, the spa.
So I was practicing so I sold my spa,
right.
And then I was practicing at a resort.
Oh, okay.
And starting my online business. And really my thought with it was, if I could have some other income streams coming in, I could cut back a little bit at the spa, spend more time with my kids, the things we all want, a little less stress and a little more money.
Right. Yeah. Everybody wants. So I do this talk called There's No Such Thing as Work-Life Balance, where it's like, You can't cut yourself into two. Your work just has to
Mhm.
incorporate seamlessly somehow into how you want your life to live. And one of those ways for some people is like you're saying, being an entrepreneur, and you just went out and said, this looks good, this looks good. So you went into eBooks?
Yeah, I started with an ebook.
Oh, you started
Um,
with an ebook.
well, and I didn't realize that I was being kind of strategic, but it took me so long to write my ebook that I had a blog for about a year where I was meeting people and gathering their email addresses.
Oh, tricky.
So when my book came out, I had people that were interested in it. And so now I know that's smart.
That is smart, and you didn't even know it. It's almost like you fell into success because you're a success coach now, right? So
Mhm.
people might think just doing you're doing ebooks or something. So what are you doing now?
So now I'm still doing ebooks. I teach online courses. I do some coaching.
Are the
And
online courses on how to write ebooks?
the online courses are on how to build and grow a successful massage business, how to write ebooks, and online business now at this point.
Wow. Yeah.
So,
Everything's online now, isn't it?
yeah, and when COVID hit, I had an email list of about 10,000 massage therapists, and several of them reached out to me and said, "Gail, we want to put classes online and do what you're doing." And I thought, well, that I can teach that. So I started a program, and I'm such a creator. I mean, I think of an idea and I can have a class ready the next day.
Wow. That's like
So,
prolific.
so it just keeps going.
That's because some people struggle for ages. I mean, also, I guess you don't suffer from procrastination.
um, I don't, because I hack myself.
Oh, tell us.
So I pre-sell things. I tell people when they're coming out, and I put that pressure on myself. So it's just like if I had a job with a deadline and a boss
Right.
who wasn't going to pay me if I didn't finish it. So I
Now,
really have to use that strategy, or
right?
yeah.
It's interesting. So, because, everybody was, not everybody, a lot of people procrastinate for different causes and different reasons. And I can see like having a deadline. So, do you wait until your deadline is looming to do it, or do you get to work on it right away?
It varies, but it's
Right.
often the day before. I'm like, I have to give this presentation tomorrow. And generally, I have it thought through, I have it planned in a notebook. When I'm feeling organized, I like to use PowerPoints just because they keep me on track. So I'll
Yeah.
have the PowerPoint started, but there's a little last minute flurry usually.
Yeah. I'm thinking about that because there's a particular client I have who deadlines like that just cause them no end of stress, even if it's self-imposed.
Exactly. Yeah. So I really think you have to know yourself and
Yeah.
figure out your own hacks that are going to work for you.
Yes, definitely. And or, experimenting with different, what if I do this? What if I do this?
Mhm.
Because, and it's true, like, I mean, you're a multipreneur, multi creator. And do you find that you find people who have really great ideas that they never launch?
Yeah.
Which is always so sad. And
Mhm.
it's like, what do you think is creating that kind of hmm, roadblock?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. I think one is worrying about perfectionism
Hmm,
and just feeling like it's never done enough or good enough. And the other one is just, I mean, we all want to avoid falling on our faces and feeling like failures. So if you don't make your thing and put it out there, you're never going to have to face that
right.
particular.
And I think perfectionism comes
Mhm.
like it's almost like you want it to be perfect because if you think that it's perfect, then it can't possibly fail, right? It's almost like they're related.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that.
Although there's nothing perfect.
There's nothing perfect, and however perfect you get it, there will still be people that don't like it.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. I mean, I've studied with so many coaches and so many coaches who are really good, and there will be people who attack them on social media
Yeah.
because they have a different opinion. They have a different lived experience. So yeah, perfectionism for me is just a form of fear,
Yeah.
right? Just another form of being afraid to do something. And everyone has something in them that someone else can benefit from. So I always want people to, if you have that dream to do something, oh my gosh, I want people to run out and do it.
Yeah.
And
And I think the other piece to it is, I really like to make money.
and that's not a bad thing, friends. Friends out there listening who suddenly went, "You." It's not a bad thing. So this is something that I just heard in the last probably year or so, which I didn't know before, and maybe it just never came into my realm of consciousness before. So, people always use that quote, money is the root of all evil. So that's actually a misquote.
Mhm.
The actual quote is the love of money
Right.
is the root of all evil. So it's not, and money is just a medium of exchange. The more you have, the more you can help other people.
Mhm.
Because if you don't have any, you can't necessarily do all the things you want to do in the world. So use it as a tool, not as a, what was that guy's name? Golem? Not as a, my precious, my precious. And if nobody knows what that is, it's Lord of the Rings. Um, so who do you find comes to you for success coaching these days?
Well, it's mainly been people from my little niche. So I work with quite a few therapists that are ready to retire or just, I think,
Change gears,
yeah, most of us after 15 or 20 years say, what's next?
right? Yeah, I did it for 14.
Yeah. And so that's been my main client base, but I definitely am looking forward to working with a variety of people. And one thing I like to do is, I get together with people before we coach and we have a chat, and I really think, okay, do I think I have the skills and knowledge to help this person reach their goals?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think those initial chats are always super important
Mhm.
for coaching. And some people, because coaching us, when you're in the coaching business, it seems like there's coaches everywhere and coaching is normal. But I
Yeah.
know sometimes if I tell people I'm a coach, they're like, "What? Like basketball?" And why would someone hire a coach? There's lots of reasons why. And there's lots of coaches with different experiences, and it's almost like it's your part of your, I see it as part of your support team,
Mhm.
really, to get your life the way you want it, right? And I think that initial call is important because you won't resonate with everyone, and the approaches won't resonate with everyone, right?
Right.
Which is fine because, as I say sometimes, I can only coach, this many people. You know?
There definitely has to be a personality match. Like, I'm not the world's most organized person.
But you can get your things done like that.
Oh yeah, my stuff gets done, but if tell you, yeah, I'll put your notes in the Google Drive, like it might be 2 or 3 days.
Oh,
So,
right, right.
there's just little things like that. But also, one thing I love about coaching is, I don't know if you use an app to talk to your coaching clients. I use an app called Voxer.
Oh, I have Voxer.
Yeah, and it's really fun because we can just I love just doing the back and forth voice messages, and it's just kind of this ongoing conversation.
That's cool.
And I just think it's so fun. And I'm like, well, that's what I offer, and not necessarily like the whole like templates and
Yeah,
typed up notes and things like that.
right. It's the people are getting the support in the way that they works best for them and for you, because it is a two-way street. And what do you see as a success coach? What do you think? What do you see as success when you're helping your?
I think it's really getting clear on what you want your life to look like and what your goals are. And this is something that I just keeps coming up over and over in conversations I've been having recently is this really my goal, or is this what I think my goal should be because it's what's kind of going around right now?
Right. And it's true. A lot of people, um, when they first start something, some people are quite driven and know right away what they want,
Yeah.
right? But I don't find that's a common thing. I'm in a group coaching program right now where people, they know they're not unhappy and they don't know why. And
Mhm.
they don't know how to be happy or how to change it. So it's interesting to watch that process of them trying to figure out what they do want.
Mhm.
And sometimes you get a really, you know what you don't want. I don't want to be this way.
Yeah.
But how do you find your way back? It's the finding your way back and finding a way to live in that space. And I know this is going to seem like a weird segue, but I know we talked about decluttering way, way back when. Um,
Mhm.
do you find that that's one of the most effective ways to help people?
I do. I do. Because I know when you're decluttering, let's say you're decluttering your, I don't know. We all have that closet in our house where things get put.
I
And
just
you're
looking
going through and you're like, "Oh, here's that yoga mat I bought when I was gonna be a person who did yoga. Oh, and here's that, I don't know, crochet kit I bought when I thought I might wanna crochet." And you
there's my
start
crock
doing,
pot. There's my, salad spinner when I
yeah,
was
my
gonna eat
salad
salad
spinner,
every
when I
day.
was gonna go on that health kick, and my Instapot when I was just gonna become an amazing organized person who had dinner ready every night.
Right? I have to say I love my Instapot. Just I
See,
don't
and I didn't love mine. I was like, "I can't be bothered.
right?
I have a crock pot." So, but these are all, like, I call that aspirational clutter. So those things have a message for us, but they're not necessarily the thing that we need to do. Like, we were trying to gain something when we bought those items.
That's such a good phrase, aspirational clutter. Oh my
Yeah, because we
gosh.
aspired to be something that we weren't. And now, though, if we didn't follow through, that clutter is like, you're a person who doesn't follow through and you wasted your money, and it'll tell us mean things.
Right? Or we make a story around it, that tells
Yeah,
us, we make a story of what that means about us.
right.
Instead of saying something like, "I thought I wanted to be a yogi, but apparently I don't
Yeah,
because I never did it. I thought I wanted to be a great Instant Pot chef, but I'd rather use a crock pot,"
right. Or
which
I'd,
is
yeah,
fine,
or I'd rather go to buy the healthy dinners at the store and just heat them up.
right? Or and then there's a whole story you can create around that. Like,
Mhm.
the stories we create about ourselves are endless, and it's funny that we have a choice of the story to tell,
Right.
but we always pick the bad one.
Yeah, because the story could be, "Hey, you know what? I like to try stuff."
Yeah, damn it. Yes, damn it, I do like to try stuff.
Yeah.
So when you decide it's not for you, don't put it in the closet is what you're saying.
Right. Yeah, go ahead and let it go because you will really make room for what is for you. So,
Decluttering has become such a thing these days,
yeah.
more than I ever remember it being. I think
Mhm.
it all started with Marie Kondo and
Yeah,
her book, the which I totally admit I did it. I did what she said, and people think I'm crazy. I tried to suggest to one of my friends one time to try it. She says, "I'm not getting rid of my stuff." I said, I'm not telling you to. It's just make sure what you have is actually what you want to have,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And I really like, I mean, I do think that we have our particular containers. And so, just different people can practically own different amounts of stuff.
Yeah,
You,
and stuff does cause mental clutter.
mhm.
even
Yeah.
if the closet door is shut. Have you ever read Denise Duffield Thomas?
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the things that she always gets people to do is when you're starting a new project to declutter something,
Yeah.
even if like anything at all. And I was doing a challenge with her and I decluttered the top of my desk because it was for a manifestation challenge. And I decluttered the top of my desk and in a pile of papers I found $100. It's like,
Right.
where did this come from? I don't even remember how this got here. So decluttering works, friends. Not saying you're going to find buried treasure, but you might. You never
You
know,
definitely might. Yeah.
right? And so so do you usually start people with that declutter idea and the aspirational clutter?
When people, if you're just starting out with decluttering and you're a little maybe not used to it, I think working on something that does not have any sentimental value
Right.
is probably best. So I usually start people in like the Tupperware
Oh, that's awesome.
or the kitchen junk drawer. Like you can easily declutter like twist ties and
Milk tabs,
yeah, all that
elastic
stuff. And then
bands.
that kind of gets the energy flowing and you start thinking, oh, this decluttering stuff does feel good. Stuff does look nicer. And then it's easier to go on to those harder
It's true
areas.
that you have to start with the things that you're not attached to, which is
Yeah.
which is interesting. So in the because I thought you were going to say the sock drawer or something, but because Marie Kondo always starts with clothes, and
Yeah.
I'm thinking, well, some clothes are sentimental, so. But
Well,
the
speaking
last,
of Denise Duffield Thomas, she always starts with underwear.
does she? That's awesome.
Because
Yeah.
and that's probably true. Like I don't feel attached to any underwear.
No, why would you? Clean out your underwear drawer. And doesn't she get you to go out and buy fancy ones?
Yes.
These are
Yes.
my $1,000,000 underwear. No,
Yes.
she's not
Upgraded.
saying, yeah, she's not telling you to spend $1,000,000 on underwear, but but it's true. Like when you get down to those things, those nostalgia things, it's a little heart-wrenching for some
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've heard of Swedish death cleansing.
Hmm.
Yes. So, and I just remember this because my ex-husband, we were helping his mother move out of her house that she'd been in forever. And we were bringing boxes out of the basement, and she was sitting at the top of the stairs on a chair. And we'd say, "What about this?" And she'd go, "Oh," like she'd get all sad and start telling you about it. We're like, "We're trying to move you out of your house." So
Yeah.
it's like, do it before you have to,
Yeah. If you do
right?
it as you go, then yeah, it doesn't have to be. I know I've had a lot of massage clients that were older and retired, and I learned a lot from them. And I had a couple one time tell me, they said, we're selling our house and we're building a house next to our daughter, and we're doing it now while it's our choice and we can make all our own decisions. And I
Yeah.
just thought that was so smart.
Right, it is smart,
Yeah.
because you may well, everybody so my husband and I were talking recently about, something, the rate of death for this is it was some kind of new fungus that's being studied. I get the Medscape emails, and this fungus is causing 3 in 1 death of people who are immune compromised in this situation, and he said, "What we've gotta say is life eventually ends up in death."
Yeah.
So and when you accept that, then you make decisions aware that there's an end game for everyone. And this is your go around to have some fun, to go out and do the things you're meant to do, and to not carry lots of that baggage. I've moved enough times that I started having to declutter because I was
Yeah.
going from place to place. I'm like, I'm not packing that again. If it didn't unpack the first time, it's not
Mhm.
unpacking again. I don't even know what's in the box, that kind of thing. And it makes your mind so calm.
Yeah. And that's another great hack too. If you're a little hesitant to declutter, box it up, put it in the garage for 6 months, and anything you haven't gone to get after 6 months, you just carry it away. You don't look back in there.
Right? You probably can't even remember what's in it.
No. And
Right?
I would say 99% of the time you don't go back in that box.
Do you find people with, because you have a little one now, right? Still?
Mhm.
Still? How little?
Oh, no, now he's 15.
Oh, geesh. They don't stay little very long.
No.
But, I can just remember someone that I knew whose her 2 daughters are adults, and she still had baby clothes in the basement.
Mhm.
So, what are you saving those for? Right?
Her grandbabies, they're not gonna be in style.
No, and the daughters won't want them because they won't be cool, and yes. Um, it's a there's part of that hesitation to get rid of things because of us, I feel like it's um, the opposite of prosperity, lack mindset.
Yes, good.
So,
Mhm.
it's like, "What if I need this? What if I need this? What if I need this and I don't have it?" Not trusting that whenever you need it, it will come to you, right?
Yeah, and I look at stuff and I think, what if I did need this? And I really think through it. I'm like, I could borrow one. I could go buy another one, especially for stuff that to replace would be less than $50 or something.
Right?
Because I have made decluttering mistakes. I've decluttered stuff, regretted it, and had to go buy it again, like cake pans.
Oh, yes. Don't declutter all the cake pans. At least
Right.
keep a couples.
Yeah. But I was like,
You know?
I haven't made cake in years. And I decluttered them. And like 2 weeks later, my husband was like, oh, I told our friend I'd make their birthday cake. And I'm like,
That's awesome.
and he makes the cake like every 5 years.
You know there's a place for cake pans.
Yes. And the truth is, I have room for them. They're not
Right?
bothering me.
It's okay. So
Yeah,
once there's a bit of a decluttering happening, do you find that there's a mindset shift for people? Then you can help them to see more clearly what they want and what they want to work towards?
I do. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And how long do you think it does it take for them to find that? Do you notice a quick shift? Do you notice, what do you notice?
Yeah, I think it's almost immediate.
Wow,
I think you just start seeing things differently.
right?
It's like you're like, okay, well, because if you're decluttering, you're saying, I'm ready for my next step.
Right.
I'm ready to do something different than what I've been doing. And I always recommend that, like you do the whole thing, put it in the car, drive to the donation place, get fully rid of it. I think that's the biggest energy shift.
Right? Was it burn the boats?
Yeah.
So you can't go back, give it away and you can't get it back.
Yeah. And then you can't take your children shopping in that store for a few
No,
months. They'll buy
no,
their stuff back.
exactly. Yeah, we have a Salvation Army around the corner from us store, and they always have a big bin out on wheels out next to their front door, so
Mhm.
you don't even have to go in the store.
Yeah.
You put it in the bin and you walk, keep going, because you will go in and go, "Oh, look, it's such a great deal. Such a
Right.
great deal."
And yeah. And so I do find that when you start letting stuff go, you just, your mind's more clear. You start thinking about the future and just taking more steps.
Right. And I know this is jumping back a little bit, but I was thinking about your ebooks. Do you have an ebook on decluttering or what are your ebooks on?
Well, right now, yeah, I have an ebook on decluttering your schedule,
Ooh, I like it.
and I have an ebook on decluttering your beliefs,
Oh, I like that too.
and I have a course on decluttering your home.
Wow. I think everybody needs all three.
And the course is called Decluttering Deep Dive because I feel like a lot of decluttering courses just deal with the stuff, and I like to go into the aspirational clutter that we talked about, and more of the why we might be having a hard time of letting go of things, and some of
Right?
those
Like
aspects.
there's a reason that you've kept it and you may not admit to yourself what that reason was.
Yeah.
Or you might just, they nothing to see here, not looking, not looking.
And decluttering can bring up some stuff.
Absolutely.
That stuff needs to be decluttered too.
Yeah, which I guess is your decluttering beliefs. Is that
Yeah. Yeah.
related to that?
Yeah, some of it. And the decluttering beliefs is It's kind of related to any beliefs that are holding you back. Like we were talking about before, like perfectionism. Like what is with that belief that something has to be perfect or, yeah, we have so many helpful and unhelpful beliefs.
Well, and it's interesting because when you arrive here on the planet, this little baby has none,
Mhm.
right? So things that we think are 100% true, you just picked that up somewhere along the way,
Yeah.
right? And no matter what your truth is, it's not going to be everybody's truth. So you can you can decide to keep it, but decide to keep it um, intentionally because you find it helpful, right?
Mhm.
That's awesome. So many, and everything is on your website, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Elevate with, and by the way, for friends who are listening, go to the show notes. I mean, even if you're watching the podcast, the video version, go to the show notes because Gail's not spelled how you think it is. Elevate with Gail and .com, and it's not how you think it's going to be spelled. And I was very careful to make sure I spelled your name right.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I just feel like we could probably talk about a million things because you do so much stuff, but I want to honor your time.
Wow.
But before we go, I'm always give this last question, and which is not really a question. It's, do you have any final words of wisdom for everyone?
Um, I think just, we can look at things in a way that's like, oh, I have to deal with this or have to figure out these beliefs, and we can have that kind of energy around it, or we can have the energy of, you know, well, this is interesting, or that's curious. And
Right.
so, if we're looking at where our beliefs came from, and maybe it came from an experience that wasn't great, it doesn't. I just feel like it's a choice. How hard we make things is often a choice. I'm not going to say that as a blanket statement, but it's often
It is.
easier than we make it.
Yes. Yes. That's very true. Something that I throw out every now and then is, you are the cause of your own suffering, whether you believe me or not.
Mhm.
It's sometimes you do step in something you didn't mean to, but
Yes,
quite
and
often.
I'm working with a grief coach right now,
Oh, cool.
and she says grief is real, but suffering is optional.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome,
yeah.
right? Stress is real, but we could translate
Yeah,
that,
you can do that on lots of things.
right? Oh, I'm gonna run with that one. You could write a whole ebook on that. I know you're gonna have it done by tomorrow.
No, only if I use ChatGPT. I'm not doing
Right?
it.
Oh my gosh. No, don't do it. Thank you so much, Gail, for coming and hanging out and sharing your awesome wisdom with us. And I hope I get to connect with you again soon.
Yeah, same. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Friends in podcast land, pop over to the show notes. Go check out those ebooks. I'm sure that you could probably use all of them. I know that I could. So if you think that you know someone who could use some of this information, go and share it with them because, sharing is caring, my friends. Take care.